This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
Get real.
You all ready for this? Dun 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 dun.
No. Y'all, just stop. This is a sham. Welcome to DBL. It's Friday, September 24th. I'm Jeff here with Erica and Al. Can we just break the fourth wall and tell everybody what happened, Al? Because I don't think even Erica knew what happened.
We have to. Okay.
Did you just see what Al did before we started?
Okay.
You know the face thing that freshens you up with your makeup?
Okay.
You could take it from here.
Okay, so it was sitting on my desk, so I grabbed it, and I'm like, this isn't coming out, and it's a weird mist, and it smells weird. And so I sprayed some on my hand, and I was like, that's a weird color. Now I realized it was brush cleaner.
But he sprayed four pumps on his face right before we went on air.
And I think I sprayed one just to make sure. So my face is clean.
Wait a minute. First of all, you know how you give someone advice, and it's advice that they truly, truly need, even if it's unsolicited. I have told Al how to get the shine off of his face a million different ways, a million different times.
Was brush cleaner one of them?
He has decided to use the after setting spray, which is not the way. It actually boosts the moisture in your face.
I know, Erica.
And I've told you exactly how to do this, so I have no empathy for you in this moment.
Okay, but what you didn't see is earlier today, the lovely Kelly Schuberth got some Lauren Mercier and anti-matted me, so I am super matted for the show. Let's roll, Jeff.
Okay, anti-matte would be shine, just for the record.
Okay.
Listen, me and Al, we're learning. We're learning.
Anti-matted me.
It's only been 5 years. We're still learning. All right. We are getting another look at the highly anticipated movie about Princess Diana called Spencer. So this time, we get to actually hear Kristen Stewart as the late princess. Let's watch.
In this house, there is no future. Past and the present are the same thing.
Diana, they can't change. You have to change. You have to be able to do things you hate.
You hate?
There has to be two of you. There's the real one and the one they take pictures of.
So again, here's a look at Kristen next to the real Princess Di. Pretty good, right?
Yeah.
And we get to see Charles, played by English actor Jack Fawthing. Huh?
Okay, well.
It's a little bit of a stretch. Okay, and the Queen also makes an appearance. Here's a look at the actress playing her next to the real Queen.
Okay.
That's pretty
feeling
good.
it.
That's pretty good. But you know what? I'm watching that Bill Clinton story, Monica Lewinsky.
Impeachment.
Impeachment, right. And remember we did a story about the girl used a prosthetic nose to look more like the other girl. I wonder, because Prince Charles's ears are very, that kind of identifies him.
Absolutely.
But I wonder if not using a prosthetic was being sensitive to that fact in any way. I'm just kind of spitballing here.
I think you should. I mean, his ears are almost like Owen Wilson's kind of crooked nose, like that's his calling card. But they've been doing really well with this. Remember the Meghan Markle Harry Lifetime movie? The guy that played Harry looked more like Harry than Harry did. So I thought, was it Lifetime? The one that came out like a year ago? Do you remember that?
Yes.
But I think they do a really good job of casting these. And for somebody like me that hasn't really been involved in this up until this point, I've been doing stand-up, I'm going to watch this. I thought they looked really cool. I don't really know the story, so I don't know about the diehards, but for somebody like me, I'm interested.
I'm watching for sure. I think Kristen Stewart, it's not like I'm just the Diana, know-it-all, but I really do follow this story, and I find it just so incredibly interesting, especially because I feel like we're getting like a 2.0 in real time right now with Harry and Meghan. So I'm watching it, and I thought that Kristen Stewart looked and sounded great.
Yeah, she's getting a lot of flack, at least for what we cover on our show. I thought she looks great. I thought she sounded great.
She looked just like her.
I know.
Well, she's kind of like a magnet for people to come after, because for whatever reason, I don't know, I'm not familiar with her whole Twilight situation, but I know that she's always kind of been on the receiving end of a lot of criticism, so I'm sure that this is no exception.
Do you know the two? Are you a Harry guy? What are the you know what I'm talking about?
Team Harry and Team...
I don't think it's
I've never
Harry.
seen
Do you know
Twilight.
Edward, and do you know the other one?
I have no idea.
Do you?
For Twilight? Well, that
Edward and Jacob.
No.
I didn't know that. They said it in my ear. Otherwise, I would have had no idea. All right. We lost that trivia. So supermodel Linda Evangelista is suing for $50 million after a cosmetic procedure allegedly left her body disfigured. So Linda rose to fame, if you didn't know, in the 80s and 90s with fellow models Cindy Crawford, Naomi Campbell, and Christy Turlington, but hasn't booked any modeling gigs in years. She was spotted back in an airport back in 2017, that's her, but has remained out of the public eye. That's because she says she was left, quote, brutally disfigured after a cool sculpting cosmetic procedure on her chin, back, thighs, and stomach. It also claims she wasn't made aware of a rare side effect from the treatment, get this, that enlarged her fat cells rather than shrinking them. That's maybe a big one to point out. On Instagram, she said her body is now, quote, permanently disformed, and the lawsuit is a way for her to share her story and rid herself of shame.
So I have a girlfriend who is in cosmetics and with surgery. I don't know. She does something with cosmetic surgery. And I remember her saying that a lot of people with this procedure or some other procedures had the side effect that if you were going to do something like this, because some places were offering this and it was like a nail salon. So I'm like, okay, are you going to
get your cool sculpting and then go back to work, that kind of thing?
Right. It was like actually in the back of a nail salon. So it became very pedestrian for some of these. Yeah, these procedures became, and I mean, not necessarily the cool sculpting, but stuff like this.
Right.
Very pedestrian. And what was happening is the fat cells were actually becoming hardening them, so that you would have to have surgery after to get it removed. So people were ending up in worse positions than they actually. So a lot of things she was seeing was trying to be the reversal of what these things can do. So yeah, it's very serious.
Yeah, I mean, we see this with all sorts of procedures, right? Whether it be implants of some sorts. If you get a cheaper version of that and don't go to a doctor who knows what they're doing, this might happen. But this doesn't seem like the case. It seems like her body just had a rare side effect to it. Right.
Is it that rare? See, it takes one person with a big name and platform to tell their story. And look how long it took her to tell the story. This happened 5 years ago, and she was too embarrassed to admit to it. That's what happens. People go and do these things in secret. They get super shamed for it not working out. They don't want to tell anybody, and then they just suffer in silence. By her coming forward, I guarantee that people are going to come forward as well.
But let's not forget that Kanye West tragically lost his mom to a tummy tuck, I believe she was saying.
Yes.
There's no such thing as a quick, easy procedure. Joan Rivers passed away with a routine polyp removal procedure. So whenever you're going under anesthesia, it's a big deal. So take it seriously.
Absolutely. All right, let's get this last story, and I want your opinion here. Chris Pratt is going to voice Mario in an animated Mario Brothers movie, and the internet, of course, has their thoughts. So Variety tweeted out the news with a photo of the actor next to a cartoon, but some people weren't happy with the casting because Chris is not Italian. One person even tweeted that Danny DeVito would have been a better fit. What do we think about this? This is exactly what cancel culture, I didn't know which way to play this. I could have fun with this. Obviously, I'm Italian, half Italian. I'm not offended at all. This is the repercussions, though, of pushing back too hard on cancel culture.
Okay, I knew that this was going to get you.
And
so I did a little research, okay? I asked my focus group of one this morning, my mother-in-law, who is 100% Italian, and she said, it's a voice.
Exactly. Exactly. That's my opinion, too. Ray Liotta is maybe one of the most famous mobster actors there is, right? He's not Italian.
Right.
Okay, just for a little
She did have
reference.
a problem with that.
Did she really?
She had a problem with the act, actually physically seeing someone. She didn't have a problem with the voice.
Because it was a cartoon.
Yes, she did make that distinction. She's like, if you're going to talk or have an Italian or to portray an Italian person, I feel like the person should be Italian.
See, I don't. Robert De Niro, for everybody, his grandfather, on his father's side, if I'm correct, was a little bit Italian. He's not even 100% Italian, which people think he is.
Right.
But people look to him as the Italian actor who plays all those mobsters. If you're a good actor, play whatever you want. That's my thing. As long as I don't think you could do the color barrier at all at this point. But if you're playing different nationalities or things, I think that's completely fine.
And also, guys, before we get all in our feelings about everything, let's not forget about the economic part of this as well. Like, who's hotter right now, Danny DeVito or Chris Pratt? Like this, we're talking about an anime.
Aesthetically?
Yeah, both. Career-wise, everything, and I love Danny. But you know, when you start talking about who's the demo for this movie, this is an animated movie. You're going to want kids to go to a movie where they're familiar with the voice, and where have they heard Chris Pratt's voice? They've been watching the Guardians of the Galaxy. So he's famous to kids that are 13, 14, or even 10 or 11 that are going to be the demo for this movie. So they probably don't know who Danny DeVito is, but they dang sure know who Chris Pratt is.
But don't you think this is a little sign of going too far with all the things that we're pushing back on?
I think they're trying to tell them.
And how many people are offended that aren't even Italian out there? That's what I want to know.
So is he putting on like an accent? Because what does Mario sound like?
Yeah,
That's
it's
the
a me,
thing.
Mario. I'm the only one up here that could do that, by the way.
That's right.
Yeah, I
Cultural
wasn't even
appropriation
gonna-
if I do it.
This is the only, I'm going to bask in this moment.
I was feeling a little some kind of way about going, yeah, which is what my mother-in-law seriously did.
Yeah, but we can't come to that point. That's what's fun, you know, about different cultures and ethnicities. Not making fun, but having fun with it.
And I think, Jeff, I don't think I hope this makes you feel better. I don't think people are like that when they're with their friends. You might not be able to do that in the office break room anymore, but when you're with your friends, you can kind of goof around and be yourself.
But that's making two different worlds then for us, right? Coming up on DBL, Jana Kramer opens up about new music and moving on from her divorce. That's in today's Chatting with the Stars. And a brand new segment called What's Erica Watching?
Yes.
What? I don't even know about this. Get ready for her to
neither.
spill the tea about the housewife tea, I should say. I'm excited about this.
She didn't even tell me.
I didn't know.
I thought we were friends.
I saw her
Is it because I'm
shooting
Italian?
We're all gonna be surprised.
Closed captioning provided by
Tiffany fighting over the fan because you're a professional and nothing's gonna stop you. I love it. Happy Friday.
It's
Excited to
super
see.
warm in here. That's why we're all glistening.
Do you want some?
I don't want
Makeup
any
brush
brush
cleaner.
cleaner. I'm demonstrating to Al how we go about mattifying.
Can we talk about the matte
We
shaming
call
that
about the mattifying. So we're just gonna take a poof, which I've already taken to my powder, and then you get a little bit of powder on your poof.
We do need a
And
tutorial.
you
I'm not
just
even kidding.
press.
Me and Al need
So
help.
here's the thing. Okay, here's what people need to know. This is what I was telling Al. So we have all these little guys.
But that this
these
ran
little,
out now.
Right. So we have these things.
Which is what?
These are the shot or the makeup
Oil
shot
absorbers.
oil. Yeah. So you take this and you apply it to your skin. You want to have. You want to have it
this
flat,
Jana Kramer?
and you take it all around, and you just pat the skin.
And what that takes the oil off your skin.
It takes the oil, and you can see, like you can see through it a little bit.
Producing something or no?
And you take the oil, right?
just goes right
Then you take your poof, and you press the poof against your
up, buddy?
skin, because that brings
What are you doing? I
the
feel like
actual
you've been-
powder and the mattifying
What are you wearing
back
your eye? You
to
pop
your
in,
face.
Show your face.
But what about the Lauren Mercier? When does that come out?
Okay, Laura Mercier is just a brand, and they have all sorts of different things. There's powder, there's foundation, there's
I get it,
eyeshadow.
Erica, but on camera, can you give me some props? I've really tried to learn makeup.
Al's been doing very well.
from nowhere.
Yeah,
And
from nowhere.
I'm trying to learn how to do makeup.
You are somebody.
I thank you. I know how to do the glossy finger thing, the
Yeah.
loose powder. I know what that is. I've been to MAC by myself twice.
Tori Schulman, Al Jackson, Erica Cobb, Jeff Schroeder, Sam Shocker.
This is my show, baby.
Celebrating our 5th year and going strong, DBL is always all new every day.
Welcome back to DBL. I'm Erica Cobb, and you might enjoy some of the looks I give when something rather special catches my eye. If you do, you're my people. If you don't, well, God bless you too. Now, I'll be sharing with you what's on my radar in a new weekly segment called What Erica's Watching. Okay. Okay, first, Wendy Williams followers are giving her ex-husband Kevin Hunter the side eye because of a post they are calling shady. Now, Wendy recently tested positive for COVID and was hospitalized for a mental health check. Now, in a birthday post to himself, he said, "Health is wealth, not money. God said they'll learn." Well, Wendy watchers were quick to call out the dig and comment that the real shade is that his designer frames were likely paid for by Wendy. Ain't that the tea? Because what God also don't like is ugly. Kevin Hunter, take some notes. Now, let me catch you up on some housewives tea, because you know I'm a Bravo-holic. Now, Bravo announced that Cynthia Bailey and Portia Williams will not be returning to season 14 of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. However, I'm pleased that Sheree Whitfield will be returning, because who's gonna check her boo? It's also rumored that former Olympic track star Sonia Richards-Ross will be the newest addition to the cast. Now, I've got to tell you, it's very appropriate that a track star will be a new addition to the Real Housewives of Atlanta cast, because someone has got to run those queens. All right. Now, next, the Obamas have started work on one of their first major projects with Netflix. It's a biopic on civil rights leader Bayard Rustin. Now, if you don't know who he is, Rustin was an openly gay activist and advisor to Martin Luther King Jr. He also organized the historic 1963 March on Washington. Now, one thing we know about the Obamas, they get it right every time, and you're gonna learn something in the process. Well, I'll keep an eye out for more, and you can also share with me anything that you think is worth watching by using the hashtag DBLEricaWatch. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
If an adult wants to participate in a COVID-19 vaccine trial, they give their consent. But what if a minor wants to participate in a trial and their parent or guardian says no, or vice versa? Who wins? Well, people on TikTok are claiming that kids don't have a say because they're underage. So let's verify. Do minors have the ability to opt out of a trial? Our sources are Pfizer, Dr. Jim Campbell, a pediatrician and infectious disease doctor working on the Moderna and Novavax COVID trials in children, and the National Institutes of Health. According to Dr. Jim Campbell, only adults can give legal consent, but children can assent,
which is kind of like a child version of consent.
The NIH says to take part in the assent process, your child must be mature enough to understand the trial and what they are required to do. So, if a parent wants their child to participate, but the child doesn't want to, Dr. Campbell says that won't work.
You both have to agree. It can't be just one or the other.
How a child can assent is based on their age.
Typical way that works is for the older children, like teenagers, they have a written assent form that has the same content, the same general themes as what the parent permission form has, but it's written in simpler language and it's shorter.
For younger children who may not read or write as well, Dr. Campbell says verbal assent is acceptable. But for even younger kids or babies, he says,
we just have to be very careful that we discuss with the parents, all of the information, and then they give permission for their child to join.
So we can verify, yes, kids who have the ability to can opt out of a trial, but for others, their parent or guardian makes that decision for them. With your Verify, I'm Ariande Till.
I'm fighting voices in my head telling me that I'm not enough, I'm not pretty and I'm broken, I'm not worthy of love. Voices in my head telling me that I should give up. I'm fighting voices in my head.
Welcome back to DBL. That was Jana Kramer's new song, Voices, that dropped today. Jana talked to us about her new music and those tabloid dating rumors. That's today's Chatting with the Stars.
Jana, thank God you have your music, because I know it's been very cathartic for you. In fact, a number of our viewers have written in. You've been public about your divorce from your husband that happened a couple months ago, but you have said that writing and that particular song helped you through it. Can you elaborate a little bit more about that?
First of all, thank you for having me. But I think after going through something like that, it's very easy to listen to those negative voices. And, you know, I've always struggled with things that people say and letting it affect me. But I think the worst critic out there is myself. And so, you know, when my husband and stuff, those things happen, I'm like, oh, that must mean that like I'm not enough. And I think just trying to like get that narrative out of my head and say, no, I am enough. I am worthy. I do deserve love. It's just, that just wasn't the right one, as much as that was, as hard as that was.
Jana, I have a follow-up question on that, but before I get there, my wife is a huge fan of yours, and one of my favorite shows is Friday Night Lights, and I got her to watch it because you were in there. So thank you for that. During the pandemic, she started watching that, so I just wanted to get that in there. Big fan. But to go back to your husband, we had you guys on the show together. You went through a lot. He even went to rehab for that sex addiction. What is the biggest lesson, Jana, that you learned, that you're taking moving forward in your life with what you went through?
I wish I would have listened to my gut. I think I knew all along what was maybe going on, and I just was too afraid to walk through that, because there's a lot of things looking back that I'm like, why did I stay in something that was so harmful to me and toxic? So I definitely am going to value myself more in the next relationship.
We're glad to see you're doing well. Now, recently on your podcast, you talked about being on a date with Jay Cutler, and you ran into your ex while he was on a date. Super awkward. Now, like, looking back on it, are you like, I should have just left that night? Or like, you know, how did you handle it, and how do you wish you'd handled it?
You know, I feel like I had definitely a hunch that he was going to be there. And it was kind of like ripping the Band-Aid. Like, a part of me is like, man, I wish I wouldn't have gone. But at the same time, it's like, okay, Band-Aid's been ripped.
Yeah.
We've all been out at the same place now. And I will say I'm happy with how we both handled it, because he was very cordial. I was very cordial. We had a few laughs. But, you know, leaving, I'm not going to lie, I definitely went home and had a good cry with my girlfriend. It was a very surreal, weird feeling. But now that the Band-Aid's been ripped, hopefully it won't be that emotional.
All right, for your date with Jay Cutler, because some people say you were specifically friends with his ex-wife, Kristen Cavallari, but is that actually true? And we want to know it from your mouth.
We have been friendly in the past, but you know, for me, we did a movie together a long time ago, and I respect her, but she's not in my circle of friends.
Clear that up.
I love that. And
Cleared
it's just,
it up.
again, I always say people toss the F word around a lot, and that F word is friends. I'm like, you should only have 2 or 3 friends in your life.
Yeah, and I think that's something that I've learned too. It's like I'm friendly with a lot of people. I support women. I support you know, I support people in this community. And so yeah, I used to throw the best friend word around a lot, but no, I mean, I know who my friends are, and yes, that's all I'm saying. I know who my friends are.
Jana, we appreciate your candidness, your open heart, and you are helping people. Your music will continue to help people. So a reminder to our DBL Nation, Voices is dropping. And check out her podcast, Wind Down with Jana Kramer. Thank you so much, Jana. We appreciate you. Have a great day.
We appreciate you.
Thank you, Jana.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate y'all too. Have a good day.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
There's a lot of misinformation out there. That's why we verified. Jonathan Neiman, the CEO of Sweetgreen, wrote on LinkedIn that the pandemic is hitting heavier people harder, writing, quote, 78% of hospitalizations due to COVID are obese and overweight people. So let's verify in 2 parts. Does being overweight or obese make you more susceptible to severe cases of COVID? And is it true that the majority of hospitalized COVID patients are obese or overweight? We brought these questions to these 3 experts. We also looked at the widely cited CDC study from March of 2021. Let's start there. The CDC analyzed BMI data, or body mass index, for more than 148,000 patients hospitalized between March and December 2020. 28.3% of those patients were categorized as overweight and 50.8% as obese.
When you're obese or when you are overweight, it's not just having more pounds on the scale. the extra fat that you have actually causes your body to alter its physiology.
Things like a weakened immune system, weakened lung function, and it's often associated with diseases like diabetes, hypertension, or cardiovascular disease.
They may have worse outcome in terms of the hospitalization, the length of hospital stay, the requirement for ventilation support, and then the ICU admissions could be higher.
So we can verify that yes, being heavier does put you at risk for a more serious battle with the disease. But are overweight and obese patients making up the majority of COVID hospitalizations? Well, that CDC study says so. Remember, it found that 79.1% of those surveyed were obese or overweight. But our experts are split. Dr. Adalja says that it's true, saying that the majority of his patients hospitalized for COVID-19 are in fact obese or overweight. But Dr. Tran argues that these findings aren't complete, because the CDC study only surveyed data from 238 hospitals out of 800. So without a consensus, we can't verify an answer on this, at least for right now. With your Verify, I'm Evan Kozlov.
Welcome back to DBL. There's good news for people trying to lose weight. We're chatting about it on DBL's Focus on Fitness presented by QB. Although weight loss may increase your lifespan, new research suggests that more focus should be on physical activity versus weight loss. Experts say shifting goals from pounds to practice is more beneficial to living longer. This means that fat can be fit because healthy bodies come in all shapes and sizes. Staying active is so important, and QB has made it easy regardless of physical ability or age. Try their under-desk elliptical at home. Call 1-800-782-2351 or visit QB.com to learn a little bit more.
That's right. Makes me think of Jerome Bettis. Not great with his shirt off, but strong as heck.
I love that. Throwback references. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll see you on Monday.
The bus.
The bus. Notre Dame.
Yeah.